Pennsylvania's 7th Congressional District, and I am so very, very grateful that Ambassador Nikki Haley came to Pennsylvania's 7th District today to support my campaign. She has been such a staunch supporter of candidates this fall with Republican values, with American values, with family values, and we just had a wonderful event where she came out and spoke about the race. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about the race myself. This race, Pennsylvania 7, is the tip of the spear to take back the House for Republicans. There is so much focus on this race nationally, but right now, if the election were held today, I would prevail in this race. But we still have 2 weeks to go. What I want to make sure happens is that we protect the American dream for generations to come, because right now Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and my opponent Susan Wild are working hard to turn it into a socialist nightmare, that American dream. When I talk about things that are really important to me, I think about crime. And I think about the fact that we need to make sure our law enforcement officers are treated like heroes and our criminals are treated like criminals. My opponent has voted to defund the police. So I'm very, very proud of my endorsement by the FOP Lodge 40, which is the State Troopers Association, and Lodge 35, which is the Lehampton Lodge, for their endorsements, because they know what candidate is going to support safety in our communities, what candidate is going to support having safe homes, safe schools, safe houses of worship, safe businesses. The next thing is immigration. My opponent is on the wrong side of that as well. My grandparents came here more than 100 years ago. They came here seeking the American dream. They came here seeking personal liberty, equality of opportunity, and a trust in the wisdom of the common person, that American dream. Right now, that American dream is under threat, because right now we have open borders that are supported by my opponent, with fentanyl flowing through those borders, enough to kill every American more than 7 times over. Enough, capturing over 70, I think it's over 100 terrorists at the border at this point. How many have gotten through? We need legal immigration. I'm pro-immigration, but we need to secure our southern border and stop illegal immigration and make sure we open the door to legal immigration. In fact, we might want to take some of those 87,000 new IRS agents that my opponent just voted for and turn them into Border Patrol agents or people who can help process people who want to come here legally the right way. The next thing I do want to talk about is energy. Right now, all over the country, and energy and inflation go together, all over the country, and particularly here in Pennsylvania's 7th District, where we are heading into winter, I hear seniors talking about issues that they have where heating oil has gone up 4-fold, from approximately $1.50 a gallon to over nearly $5.50 a gallon. People are having to make decisions. Seniors, working families, single parents. Will I heat my home? Will I put food on my table? Will I put gas in my car? Or will I buy my medications? This is inflation, and it's related to energy, and the solution is right here in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania should be a world superpower in energy. We have enough energy underneath Pennsylvania to fuel our entire country for over 200 years, and it is liquefied natural gas that is absolutely pure. If we were our own country, we'd be number 4 in the entire world. These are things I want to work on as your Congresswoman. The race is 2 weeks away. I know I can win this race, but right now we are just heading down the final stretch, and I'm going to run right through that line on November 8th and make sure that we take back America for Americans and put the people first. Thank you.
And I'll just say we're proud to be here in Lehigh Valley. We were very excited to come endorse Lisa Scheller for Pennsylvania 7. The country is watching this. The country is watching it because we know that the road to the majority is the road to sanity. And basically what we've seen is, if you ask any Pennsylvania family if they're better off than they were 3 years ago, they'll tell you they're not. And so what you get with Lisa is you get someone that understands that you have to hold criminals accountable, someone that knows that we have to have transparency in the classroom and really get our kids back up to speed, somebody that understands that we have to be energy dominant, and someone that understands that the only way we can deal with our enemies around the world is to have strength here at home. And so I'm proud to endorse her and proud to be here in Pennsylvania.
guys taking questions?
Sure.
If you don't mind, Ambassador Tom Chertel with Lehigh Valley Public Media.
Yes.
If you don't mind me asking, why now? You've been endorsing candidates across the country since early spring. What was the tipping point for you?
Well, we endorsed Lisa a while
May.
back.
In May.
Back in May. It's just how do we get to everybody? So now we're just trying to make sure that we hit everybody. Lisa was a star from the very beginning because we saw that she had values that we knew would represent Pennsylvania families. The way she understood you had to hold criminals accountable, the way she saw the open borders and the fact that we had to close it, the way she realized the fentanyl crisis that's affecting so many. And so we know that her leadership here will be not just good for Pennsylvania families in Congress, it's good for all American families in Congress.
I have a question for Lisa. So what's the biggest motivation you run for Congress? Thank you.
The reason I decided to run for Congress is because I love this country. You know, my grandparents came here more than 100 years ago seeking that American dream, and that's something that has been instilled with me, that America is the greatest nation in the world, and we need to keep that. It is a beacon of light, freedom, and hope for the world. That's why I decided to run, and that's a big part of why I decided that I was going to be contributing my entire congressional salary to charities that benefit veterans that live in this district, a program I've already started, because for more than 246 years, men, women, and their families have served, sacrificed, and died so that I could live the American dream. And that's why I decided to run for office.
Thank you very much. Another question is, what's your biggest strength over your opponents? Thank you.
Well, I think there's a lot of them, but most of them are values that my parents taught me. One is you stand up for what you stand for, and you become part of the solution if you're able to become part of the solution. And when you are blessed, you have the obligation and privilege to give back. And those are three things that I am going to do in Congress. I'm a job creator. I run an American business employing hundreds of hardworking, great American folks, manufacturing products that are sold all over the world. I'm an engineer, and engineers are problem solvers themselves. I want to take that experience and that knowledge of business and signing the front of a paycheck with me to Washington so that we can put Americans first and American interests first.
Okay, thank you.
Lisa, almost City with Business Insider. If elected, what's the first thing that you hope to start working on?
I think there's a few things that I want to work on very, very quickly, and I want to make sure that we're putting forth bills that are going to land on Biden's desk over and over again. 1, we need to get tough on crime. 2, we need to secure our border. 3, we need to open up Pennsylvania's energy. And these are 3 things that I think I want to, and all of these lead to reducing inflation. We've got to stop the egregious spending that's going on and spend government's money like it is the taxpayers' money, because in fact it is. It is not our money to spend. It is the people who live in Pennsylvania. It is the people who live in the country. We need to make sure that we are good stewards of that and we're spending it on things that really matter. But we've got to get inflation under control.
Thank you. On abortion, would you support federal legislation to ban abortion or a national ban on abortion?
You know, I've spoken about this issue any number of times, and my opponent has lied on it, lied about my position on it, and I've been very forthright in saying that I would not support a constitutional ban on abortion. But she has lied about my position. But right now, Americans are looking at their checkbooks going into the fall and wondering how they're going to feed their families and put food on and put gas in their cars. And these are much more pressing issues at this time.
Thank you.
Lisa, follow up on that question. I know you referenced the constitutional ban a number of times. You wouldn't support it. What about just regular federal legislation? What is your stance there?
Like I said, my opponent has lied about my position on this, and I support exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. But my opponent believes in 0 restrictions on abortion. She believes that you could be able to have an abortion on demand at any time for any reason up until a minute before a baby is born.
So no comment on federal legislation?
Like I said I oppose a constitutional ban on abortion.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.